Welcome back to the Pipeline Talk podcast. This is episode 2. We're talking a little Vols and the minors and the majors, seeing who we like, maybe who could get called up to the majors this season. All that and more. Back into it though with episode 2. Who do we got to start us off, Paul?
So I think we're gonna start with the maybe the best Vol in the major currently, Garrett Crochet, left-handed pitcher, Boston Red Sox. Just got paid just before this season. I believe it was 5 years, 150 mil. I believe
Got
that's
a
right.
bag.
He got the
They locked
bag.
him up.
He's pitching like it so far, and 10 starts so far, 63 innings. Got a nice 2 ERA, 2.8 FIPS. So he's all the numbers are looking very good. A little concerning is his strikeout numbers have gone down. He was sent about 12.88 Ks per nine last year, at about 10.43 this year. And there's some different things that go into that. Last year at the White Sox, a lot of outings where he didn't go very far. They take him out by the third inning or so because they weren't winning. So they might as well save him. Out of that, so not going as deep into games last year. He's walking a couple more guys this year, but again, the numbers look good. I'm not too concerned. Really, that's what we want to see this year. So we want to see him pitch more than he ever has. The most innings he's ever had in the majors was 146 last year. Just a solid workload, but not really a full season's worth. You'd like to see a little more out of him, and he's on a good pace. He's on good. If he makes about 30 starts this year, looking at about 180 innings, you can probably expect him to cut back how far he goes into games as he gets deep. So if he can get that 160, 170 innings limit, that looks really good, especially for awards. He keeps up this kind of ERA. Can we get our first Cy Young for the Vols since R.A. Dickey back in 2012? We'll
Shout
see.
out R.A. Dickey.
Shout out
R.A.
R.A. Dickey. No, and I mean, for him, for a guy like that, he's been playing with the White Sox his entire career. Besides maybe that 2021 season where they pushed a little towards that playoff, he only threw 54 innings. This is his first time playing meaningful games with a good team. I know the Red Sox are probably slightly underperforming. I think they're still right around 500. But this is a guy who they traded the assets to make him their ace. They have bought in, pushed the chips in, and extended him before he even threw an inning for this team. So the Red Sox are all in on this guy. He's given up 5 homers this year, which I find a little interesting. 18 all of last year. So the pace is a little, I would say, maybe a step behind depending on inning limit. So that's good. Playing in Boston, got the big monster, obviously, green monster in left. But this is a guy who I think will benefit from pitching in more meaningful games. So there's just something about it, whether it's a mindset, being around better players, and pitching in a tough division too, facing a lot of guys from the AL East.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing exactly what they need him to do, though. Just go out there every fifth day or whatever it is, and just go ahead and shove. And he's going to keep them in the running. Like you said, there's Red Sox hovering right around 500 right now, but with him going out there every day, pitching the way he is, he's going to give them a shot to really make a run down the stretch.
Yeah, yeah. And another hard-throwing Tennessee guy we should talk about whose season has unfortunately ended, Ben Joyce, 5 days ago got season-ending shoulder injury or surgery. Not how you wanted to see it go, building off a really good last season last year. Last year, 34 innings, 2 ERA. I mean, it was impressive stuff, and he's one of you could say the coolest closers in baseball, touching 105. I mean, hoping to see him build off that. And then this year, just couldn't happen. Only got 4 innings in, had a 6 ERA, injury sidelines him, and now he's having surgery. The question is going to be, can they get him back by the start of 2026? And it seems to be a maybe. GM said they're not really sure. I'm sure they don't want to rush him back. I mean, there's not a lot of winning going on in Anaheim to rush him back for currently, but hate to see it. He'll come back strong, but was excited to see him kind of build on that, see if he could push down on his walks a little this year and really kind of get to maybe even that Mason Miller level as a closer because he's got the stuff. His stuff is that good.
Yeah, I also thought he was kind of like making some progress in that closer role for um, the Angels like the last couple of years. I think when he first came up, it was a little shaky. But like later last year when he was pitching, he seemed to be making some progress. after the injury and then like early to mid season last year. Came back from that injury and seemed to show some progress. Um, and then yeah, this year, just like it's sad to see him go down so often because, like you said, it's so fun to watch him pitch. Just light up the radar. It's electric.
And this is a guy too. He's 24 right now, so even if he did miss a full season, even some time into next year, he'd still be around that 25, 26-year-old age. He's got a lot of miles still on that arm. He missed a lot of time in college too. I know he's a JUCO guy from Farragut, Tennessee, played at Farragut High School, missed some time, and then for Tennessee only had really had that 1 year, his draft year, where he exploded on the scene and threw any a large amount of innings. So a guy with a lot of miles. It's interesting though to me that it was the shoulder and not the elbow. I don't know if there's his other injuries in the past. I believe he is a former Tommy John guy, so that is the elbow. So a little concerning that it's a different injury rather than the same. But you guys are right. I mean, electric stuff. When I went to Wrigley last year to watch the Cubs, they played the Angels, and the Angels were up 7 or 8 to nothing. But here comes Ben Joyce in the ninth and throwing 103, 104. The crowd is still there watching the game. Obviously, love the Cubbies, even down 7 runs, still cheering. But wow, some loud reactions to that radar gun. And it just plays at the major league level. He's almost like an attraction. He's getting the ninth for an Angels team that hasn't been great, but just swept the Dodgers this past series. So had a little something running. They would have loved to have him, I know. But definitely a blow. Kind of going from Crochet to Ben Joyce, looking at a guy who's having a great year and a guy who, unfortunately, his season's going to be over after just 4 innings. But jump into another guy, maybe that a little shaky to start, made his major league debut this year, Chase Dollander for the Colorado Rockies. Playing at Coors Field's always going to be tough. They called him up. They wanted him up. He started the year pretty well in AAA, and they jumped him up real quick to the majors.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that first start was for a debut. As far as debuts go, it wasn't anything to like brag about, but also it's not like he was getting shelled. 5 innings, 4 runs in Coors Field. It's not crazy, but I mean, like he's had what 3 or 4 starts now where he's had borderline like quality starts. He's though his last 2 starts, 10.2 innings, 3 total earned runs. So like he's done that. He's had flashes of that in the past. Every once in a while, it seems like he gets lit up a little bit. But I mean, like some of his worst starts are against the Nationals, Paul's Nationals. They got to him real good actually. Um, Kansas City, who they're a playoff contender, and Detroit, who's been the best team in baseball for just about. So, I mean, he's not. He seems to be pretty effective. It's more just about a consistency thing, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's been given just about the toughest challenge any pitching prospect could walk into. He's joined the worst team in baseball, and this is a really bad team. Like we know how bad the Rockies are. I don't know if you guys know how bad defensively they are. They or maybe they're that is the worst defensive team I've ever seen. When they were playing the Nationals, that series, Tovar and Doyle were out, who both are very good defenders. I'm sure they're better with those two on the field, but that series both were down. They made like 3 errors a game. It was unbelievable. And one of those games was the Dollander game. And it is so hard to not only be a rookie pitcher, you're facing big league lineups for the first time ever, a lot of good lineups when you're in the NL West, especially. You're pitching at Coors Field, which is a nightmare. I mean, you can see he has a 18.9 home run to fly ball percentage. That's like double what is expected. Like 10 is around where everyone sits. I mean, it's an impossible task, and he's on a terrible team, and that's just what you want to see him learn to pitch. And we're seeing that. I mean, yeah, like you said, the last 2 starts, 13 strikeouts and 10.2 innings. So, I mean, the strikeout stuff is there. We've seen it firsthand. It's great stuff. It was playing in the minors. It'll play in the majors eventually. I mean, I'm interested to see how it goes. I mean, we know he'll be better as the years go on. He's going to get better. But where does Coors kind of put his ceiling? Can it does it cap him as like a 4 ERA guy, and then you just kind of know like whenever he leaves, he's gonna explode. Like where? What do you think, Nick? Where does that kind of that ceiling land?
And I was gonna bring up a point too with the home runs, talking about Coors in particular. Already given up 10 home runs. I know you mentioned the home run to fly ball, but 10 home runs in 38 and two-thirds innings, little concerning. And we saw that at Tennessee too. He gave up 14 homers in 89 innings. Now you're talking about a smaller park, obviously in the SEC, but in playing some good players. But the home runs, I think in general, he's got to get that down, got to limit that. The walks hurt too when you walk a couple guys and then you give up a home run. I think that's what's caused the ERA to inflate. But they're going to take their time with him. He's only 23. He was a first round pick, obviously, just a couple years ago. He's a guy that they can afford to take their time with. They're going to give him as many opportunities as they possibly can. They're going to keep rolling him out there because what do they have to lose at this point? They have nothing to lose. They're going to try to keep drafting more pitchers probably this year and years on, get as much talent as they possibly can because they're not going to acquire any free agents. No free agents want to go there. And it's going to be really hard for the Rockies to continue to amass talent if they don't develop them in the minor league system. So good for them to get Chase Dolander up there and have his innings be at the major league level. I think his ceiling, though, right now is to just try to get as close to 200 innings as he can, and whatever the numbers look like, flush it and work next year, hopefully with a better roster and a better chance to compete. Because I, I mean, talk about Crochet lifting his play by playing for a hopeful playoff team. You got to hope that Chase Dolander is just like, what is going on out there? Talk about the
Yeah.
defense being as bad as it is. Flipping over to the offensive side of the Rockies, though, maybe their only bright spot that they got, Jordan Beck, has been on fire. I know we've seen what he's done recently, but this guy's got to be the one bright spot that they have.
Yeah, I mean he had himself a weekend. Let's just start with that. I don't have his stats in front of me, but he had a leadoff home run. I think it was on Saturday, and then yesterday. Oh no, I'm sorry. On Friday, he had a leadoff home run, first pitch of the game against
Zach
the
Gallen.
yeah Zach Allen of the
Mhm.
Diamondbacks. And then the next night, he goes 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and a triple. So something's turned around because he was on the opening day roster and did not look good to start the season. He got sent down, struggled, had some, I guess, must have been working on something because he has been not elite, but he has been very good since he's come back up. He's been much more consistent and he's been hitting the ball all over the park.
It's been impressive, and I mean, yeah, I can't even. You look at his 2024 stats in 55 games at the major league level, WRC plus of 32. He's striking out 35% of the time, walking only 6% of the time. He put up -1 WAR. I mean, it wasn't looking very pretty, and you never want to give up. He's 23 last year, so and you never want to be like, okay, well, that's it for him. But that's a rough showing. And then, yeah, like you said, he comes up this year to start the year, doesn't look great, gets sent back down, back up now, and just something's clicked. I don't know what he's figured out. I mean, part of it, he's catching the barrel. He's in the 97th percentile for barrel rate in all of the majors, 98th percentile in sweet spot in his launch angle, 81st percentile bat speed, which that one kind of blows my mind. Bat speed's kind of one of those things where I don't know how you train yourself to swing harder. He was sitting about 40th percentile in bat speed last year. It's up to 81st percentile. So I don't know. I think he might just be up there attacking. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe he's got an approach is what he's worked on. And not only is he hitting it harder, he's striking out less. He struck out 7% less of the time this year compared to last year, walking 2% more, but he's doing more damage. I mean, I don't know what they've done. Credit to them. I mean, credit to them really, because this isn't just core good numbers. This is just good numbers. And I mean, let's hope he keeps it up. The numbers look pretty good. He's got 11th percentile in whiff, which is a little scary, 14th percentile in Ks. I think that's just kind of who he is. I mean, you really just hope he can keep this level of offensive output where you can kind of get over the fact that he strikes out, 28 to 32% of the time. And I think they'll make it work. You'd love to see him improve his defense a little too. He's seventh percentile in range. He's got a really good arm, really good speed, and I mean, he's got a pretty good shot to be their only all-star. I mean, because someone's got to go. They got to send someone. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it quickly because I found the stats since pretty much since he got called up in early April. He's slashing, or I should say, he's batting 289 with an OPS of 995. And like you said, cut down on the strikeouts. Last 30 days, he's got 27 strikeouts. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what he changed when he was sent back down for those couple of weeks, but he has come back up with a vengeance and he has been tearing the cover off the baseball.
One more Rocky, I guess. We'll get off of our Rocky soapbox. Listeners are probably like, them. They love talking about the worst team in the league. No, guys, we are sorry that the Colorado Rockies love drafting Tennessee Volunteers. There are so many Tennessee Volunteers in this upcoming draft that there's a chance they might take another one. So
Liam Doyle, Liam Doyle.
we
And by the
we
way, guys, no correlation between the Rockies' record and all the Tennessee Volunteers. It's not their fault. They're the
it's
good
not
ones.
their fault.
But
The last one that is on their roster that has been good so far this year, got called up last year, is Seth Halverson, one of their relievers, hard throwing reliever, can touch 100. Was good at Tennessee, started his career at Missouri, had a couple injury issues, I believe, missed all of that 2021 season. 2020 was the COVID year, so another guy who hasn't had a lot of miles on the arm. Rockies moved him through their system very fast. Is kind of, we said, we're talking about it a little bit before, I guess, a bit of the Rockies closer committee. They don't really have many save opportunities, so it's more of just throw a guy out there in the ninth when you're winning and hope that they can get outs. But strikeouts have been fine. Needs to improve on his control, though. That's right, Paul.
yeah, he's 16th percentile in walk percentage. You line up 4.5 walks per nine. Don't love to see that. You love to see the strikeout numbers go a little higher. He was a little better at that last year. He's sitting at 8.5 per nine this year. He was about 9.5 last year. But the numbers look pretty good. 3.5 ERA, 3.42 whip, or yeah. And you want to know how he's doing that? 99th percentile ground ball rate. You want to succeed at Coors Field, keep the ball on the ground. And that's what he does. And part of that is, I believe it's his changeup, or it's a splitter, I believe. He is 91st percentile in off-speed run value. And that means he's just keeping his off speeds low. He's keeping them away from hitters, that hitting ground balls, not hitting it too hard. Obviously, his 100-mile-an-hour fastball is playing off that too. It's giving him some great success. But I mean, he's got the key. He's got the ingredients to succeed in that course field. You'd love to see him keep doing it. I mean, you look at his baseball savant; it's just bleeding red, other than the walks. He's the kind of guy that, again, basically all the course guys, you just really hope they look good long enough to get off the team. I mean, sorry to the Rockies, but like, as long for like, just like do it for like 3 years, and we're getting you out of there, Seth. Like. But it's good stuff. I mean, he's also it may be him or Beck for that Rockies 2025 All-Star spot. So the Colorado Volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's had a little bit of a similar issue to what Dolander's been experiencing as far as just like trying to be consistent. And I mean, like we've said 100 times, pitching in cores is not an easy thing to do. You give up one fly ball, that thing might go 6 rows deep into the stand. So it's just really, like you said, trying to keep the ball down, trying to stay consistent, limit the pitches, and I mean, it's just kind of like a little bit inflated. He's got like three of the runs he's allowed out of the nine are unearned. So once again, could be a defensive issue. But I mean, it's it's really just trying to do your best with the conditions you're put in, and just like you said, just fight through it and hopefully get traded to a stadium that's not a little league like batting practice ballpark. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Phil, what can you tell us about our former Vol, current Met, Blade Tidwell? Can you tell us about him?
Blade Tidwell, he's been in the Mets program for, I believe, 3 years now. This will be the third year, I believe. I mean, I've wanted to see him succeed. I mean, a little bit biased just because he's a former Vol and a Met. But I mean, he's always looked pretty good, just like working his way through the minors. He's got a 12.23 K per nine in AAA this year. He got called up earlier this year to the majors to make his debut due to a couple injuries on the Mets staff. But he got roughed up a little bit. Only pitched 3.2 innings, let up 6 runs, just like not a great showing. He got sent. He hasn't pitched again in the majors. He got sent back down, but you hope to see him do work on some things and hopefully get the call back up pretty soon. Because I mean, as a Mets fan, I know there's a lot of hype around our pitching staff right now. Their ERA is one of the best in the league right now, at least the starters. But I do question the longevity of that, given the fact that half of our starting pitching is either unproven pitchers or just really like former relief pitchers. So I would like to see, especially in the next couple of years, some of those guys like Blade Tidwell get some make some progress and be able to be successful up the major league level.
Blade still again talking about just the youth movement of Tennessee. Credit to Tony Vitello for recruiting these guys, developing them at Tennessee, Frank Anderson as well, and getting them to the draft and then putting themselves in position to move up the ranks quick. Good for Blade to get a cup of coffee. Obviously, we talked about it's not the results that he wanted, but only was a draft eligible sophomore, so only had 2 years at Tennessee and dealt with some injuries that sophomore year. But his true freshman season was really good. 90 strikeouts to 98, but gave him a lot of length in those outings. Only had 34 walks, so the walks to strikeouts were pretty good. And then that next year was, like I said, kind of banged up. They used him out of the bullpen. He was really good, I remember, in the SEC tournament and had 51 strikeouts in 39 innings. But a guy that has had a track record of success, good, powerful stuff. He's a big guy as well, like 6'4", I believe. Yeah, 6'4", listed at 207 right now. So a pitcher that has room to keep adding probably some strength this offseason. That might be something. Get his body right and try to give him a big inning count. Because so far in the minors, last year had 122 innings. The year before that, 116. So keep building that pitch count. It's kind of been a steady, consistent thing that we've said about all these guys, but just getting consistent reps as you approach making it to the MLB is very hard. We know that. So once you're there, to try to stick there. Um, and talk about sticking there, not so much for this final guy, Trey Lipscomb. He's been on the taxi squad up and down, really can't find his footing. I'll take it to you, Paul, being that he's on the Nationals, but just a guy that really needs to find some sort of consistency.
Yeah, I hope he's not paying too much for his apartment in DC because he's been all over the place. Last year, got sent up and down like 4 or 5 times. This year, he's already on about two. He came up for a taxi squad doubleheader the other week. I mean, yeah, they've just put him all over the place. And credit where credit's due. I mean, he's done his job. I mean, he came up as a third baseman. They asked him to learn some second. He did it. They've been trying him out of the outfield now. I mean, they've had him all over the place, and he's done what they've asked. And offensively, the numbers haven't been where you want to see him. You'd love to see him get to that final year at Tennessee level. He had a 150 WRC plus that year, was not striking out a lot. He's been better this season, at least at AAA. He's got a 101 WRC. He's still striking out about 20% of the time, which is just about where he's been sitting in pro ball. But he's walking more than ever, 13%. That's up 5% from last year at AAA. So it's good to see the bat coming along because he's very good defensively and he's very versatile, very good arm. It's going to be the bat for him, and I'm not sure it's ever going to reach it's never. I don't think it'll ever reach a above average level. But if you can get somewhere between a 90, 100 WRC plus, I mean that's a borderline just good starter. I mean, at worst, that's a great bench option for the Nats. But I mean, that's what you like to see. You'd like to see him just get at least to around a league average bat. And I think he can do it. We saw him do it at Tennessee. The minor league level, he's been able to be about around average. So, I mean, it's going to take some tweaks. Still only 24. I mean, I think he can do it. They got to give him a chance. They haven't given him. He got what last year at the major league level, 61 games. It's not a bad amount of time. He struggled 45 WRC plus, but I think he's going to need at least, they need to let him come up, get about 20, 30 games, see what he can do. He's blocked right now, but not by anyone that good. Jose Tena and Ahmed Rosario. The real problem is he's got Brady House also coming up pretty soon for the
Nipping
Nats.
at his heels.
Yeah, so I think his best chance is learn every position on the field and get the bat just under league average. I think that's where it'll be. And yeah, I think that's our last ball in the major. So I don't know where Nick Senzel has ended up in his career. I think DFA'd by the White Sox, but we don't need to talk about him. But Phil, you're our designated Vols in the minors guy. You want to start with a guy that you recently interviewed for us?
Yeah, sure. Um, we all know him. We all love him. The one, the only Christian Moore, just an absolute stud of a player for Tennessee during his time there. Led the team to the national championship. Got drafted by the Angels. There was a lot of hype around him potentially making the opening day roster for the Angels, just given their kind of like lack of depth as far as starters. Um, Unfortunately, his spring training numbers were not were not really what you would expect from the Tennessee great Christian Moore. And then so he started the season in Double A and got off to a bit of a slow start. Um, but I think, like the third or fourth week of that minor league season, he made his return to Knoxville to play the Knoxville Smokies. And first game of the series, first game in back in Knoxville. I think it was either his second or third at bat. Christian Moore hit his first home run of the season in back in Knoxville. And after that, I got the chance to talk to him a little bit for some articles that I write. But he was just ecstatic to be home back in Knoxville. I think it kind of gave him a little sense of comfort because that series, and then that series really seemed to just like turn him around. Um, I think before that he was batting like mid to low 200s, and now the last month he's batting 291, and the slug is not necessarily there still. Is that home run is still his only home run of the year with just five other extra base hits. But I mean, he's still putting the ball in play, and I think the strikeouts are a little bit much as well. But he's I have complete faith that he is going to be the Christian Moore we know him to be. He tore up the minors last year. I think it's just an adjustment period for him. He said he learned a lot during spring training from those guys, the big like especially the big leaguers. So I think he's got a lot of information to kind of take in and learn from, and I think that he'll be able to put that to work because he is a very smart player, very smart person, and he is. I think he'll do fantastic. You just got to give him a little bit of time.
The Angels love their college bats, and especially in the first round, they've taken a bunch here recently. But like you were saying, Phil, there was serious smoke around the chance that he could have broke camp with the big league team. Uh, Not a lot of depth in the middle infield, and they really wanted to try to give him that opportunity. So far, though, still at Double A. I wouldn't be surprised though if he catches a heater for them to move him up to Triple A. If not the big league club, if he starts to really turn it around. But Christian Moore is a guy, as you said, we got to have faith in, and I know that he'll be back to his old ways. Changing course though a little bit. His teammate and longtime Tennessee Volunteer, I guess, recently too, Blake Burke, playing first base with the Brewers organization right now. Talk about a guy that had a great college career. That jump from sophomore to junior year really propelled Tennessee to win that national championship as well. He is also in, let's see, I believe he's in high A right now with the Brewers organization, and they've been playing him a little bit in the outfield as well, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and just one more thing I want to touch on Christian Moore is
Yeah.
his strikeout numbers, and he's right about where he's always been. But I just feel like I think it's so fascinating that final year at Tennessee, he cut it down to 14% after being about 24% his first 2 years, and now he's back up to about 26%. So you'll never see someone so locked in as Christian Moore during that national championship season. I mean, I think he was just on a different kind of heater because. I want to say we'd like to see him get back to those levels, but I think the level he's at is kind of who he is. But shout out Christian Moore for that junior season. Just he hit the Ronald Acuna MVP season where he just K'd under half his career just because he was just so locked. But yeah, getting on to Blake Burke, he's looking pretty good. 134 WRC plus in high A. He's 22 years old, so he's a little bit old for the level. So I expect he's a guy we should see move to Double A pretty soon. But I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, he's walking at a 12% clip, pretty good. He's striking out about 21% of the time, which you could definitely live with because he just gets on base so much. 393 on base, 453 slugging. I mean, we've seen it firsthand. Blake Burke rakes. That's what he does. He'll probably keep doing that. And that'll be if they can get him in the outfield. Is it if they've had him in right field, I'm guessing, maybe left?
Yeah, it looks like that was more of a, let's see. They have not played him there this year. He's just listed for some reason as left field too,
Okay.
so maybe that's something they want to dive into. But this year in 29 games at first base, then he's had 9 games DHing as
Mhm.
well. So obviously they value his ability to hit first and foremost. But if they can find a way to play him in the outfield, that'd be
Yeah,
interesting. I
I was gonna
know
say that was kind of when you said that, I was a little surprised. I was like, he could do that?
I know at Tennessee he was taking some reps in the outfield that freshman year to try to get him on the field, so there is a
Yeah.
possibility. But his talk about a guy that took a big jump as well. That sophomore to junior year went from like 280 to 370 last year, so a very large jump and kept the power as well. He already has 10 doubles, 3 homers. Um, the RBI numbers are good too. Just being a baseball player that can drive in runs is always going to be valuable. So, like you said, Paul, though, I definitely see the jump to Double A coming soon. I'm not too familiar with the Brewers' other first base options at the levels above or below him, but it does seem like he could be someone that we will see at Double A by the end of the year.
Yeah, and it looks like he's being very patient this year. Just looking at it, no, he's not walking a lot more. He's walking more than he was, but he's just swinging. He's swinging 7% less of the time. First pitch, he's swinging 12% less. I mean, this is a guy that's just getting being very patient at the plate, doing damage when he gets his pitch. I mean, that's what we like to see. We like to see that out of him. I think he's a guy that if you told me he's going to be in the majors by September, I'd believe you. I believe you. Yeah, Phil, what can you tell us about another Tennessee world champion, Billy Amick with the Twins?
Oh, Billy Amick. Hold on, I gotta pull that up. You can talk about
No,
him first, though.
you're good. I have some notes on Billy Amick as well. I think not hitting for a lot of power, doesn't have a homer yet, but the OPS is still good. 922. His walks as well. Walking has 15 walks to 26 strikeouts. What I think is interesting though is they're trying to keep him at third base. A lot of teams, I think, in the draft process, he had some issues at Tennessee over at third base and kind of viewed him more as a first base and DH type profile. But the Twins, at least as of now, are at high A, are trying to make it work for him to play third. He is well, it's only been 100 plate appearances, but he's had 8 games at first. The rest have been at third. So he's looking in kind of like a primary third baseman, but
Yeah, I mean, his fielding is looks fantastic though, to be fair. So I don't know if that's just something with a little bit of improved coaching in the at the professional level or what, but there's really no reason for him to be moved out of the defensive field. I mean, in his 8 games at first base, hasn't made an error yet, and 12 games at third, he's made 2 errors in 103 innings. So he's doing fine at both positions. And like you said, the bat seemed to come alive this year as well. Batting 342 and 922 OPS. So he once again might just be like a comfortability thing, finally finding his footing in pro ball. But I mean, you love to see those guys like really showing off, even if it is at those lower levels.
Yeah, and he's doing really well. I do have some concerns. Again, the power, as no home run through 21 games. Six doubles, one triple. You'd like to see him tap into that more. I'm not sure where the issue is stemming for that. I mean, he's getting a 475 on base. It's pretty ridiculous. That's pretty awesome. But how sustainable is that? We'll see. I mean, he's running a 500 BABIP. He's due for some regression, unfortunately, and he still will probably be sitting at about a pretty good above, league average clip after that. But if you're not hitting for a lot of power, and you have a really high BABIP, probably means that bad times are coming. He's also striking out a lot more than you would expect. 26% at high A. He's 22 years old, so he's a little older for the league. You don't want to see that's a little bit of a concerning number, especially because he's never really been that kind of guy. In 18 games at A ball last year, it was about 19%. His draft year at Tennessee, about 18%. You want to see him bring that down, and you also want to see him hit for a little more power. So, young guy, things that can be worked on, obviously. But I'm just a little worried about those two things. But I mean, hey, 165 WRC plus. I'm not gonna tell him to stop. I'm not gonna tell him to change anything. Not yet. So
So switching off of Billy Amick and going to the pitching side, Drew Beam at High A, playing for Quad Cities in the Kansas City Royals farm system. In 39 and a third, he started all 8 games he's appeared in. He's got 41 strikeouts, so getting enough strikeouts. I know the last couple years at college, he was kind of around a strikeout an inning kind of guy. Only 9 walks and has not allowed a homer. The rest of his stats look okay, at least on the surface, though it is kind of interesting. He's only given up 15 earned runs, which is good for a 3.43 ERA, but has given up 23 overall, so 8 unearned runs. I know earlier we were talking about the Rockies' poor defense. I wonder if the high A Quad Cities
yeah,
Kansas City Royals
they
team,
rival him.
if
Yeah.
their defense is a little shaky themselves.
Yeah, well, just looking at Beam stats, he's off to a pretty good start to 2025. He's pretty impressively, he's striking out more guys and walking less guys than his junior year at Tennessee. So I think that's right. Like the SEC and about high A, maybe double A are that's kind of where like they meet in terms of talent. And that's showing off. I mean, Beam is pitching better. He has a 3.43 ERA, which is pretty good. He's got a really good 2.39 FIP. So I mean, the success is there. Part of that is, he's pitched 39 innings and has not given up a home run yet. And I mean, it takes skill to do that. That's not all luck. But eventually, some homers they'll start to happen and his numbers will start to raise. But I mean, you gotta like what you're seeing. He's keeping the walks under control. He always has. But the strikeout stuff, that's good to see. That's really good to see. Only 8 starts so far, but I mean, it's a really good start to the season.
And the home run ball was an issue at Tennessee as well, which is even more surprising. In his junior year, in his draft year, he gave up 15 homers. In the year before that, 12. But he's a guy who's always, from his freshman year, they slotted him into the weekend rotation. Tony Vitello believed that that bulldog mentality, the quarterback mentality, was going to help this team right away. And that's kind of what he's always been. If you look at pro ball and kind of the draft, they knew he was going to be kind of a high floor guy. Kind of that 3-4 starter, was never probably going to be an ace on a team, but was always going to be consistent, fill up the innings, and pitch good baseball, not walking a lot of guys like you said, Paul, but the the above average strikeout stuff is great to see for sure. Moving though along to another player who's been tearing it up recently in high A, or no, just in single A, is Kavaris Tears with the Padres. Started off the year a little slower than maybe he wanted to, a little bit of a swing and miss and some strikeout issues, but as of late has been really tearing it up.
Yeah, I mean, on the years he's batting 301, but I mean, like you said, last week he's batting 350. Um, he's got 12 hits in the last 7 games. the slug isn't there. Um, I mean, he was a little known for a little bit more power, especially at Tennessee. He's only got one extra base hit. Oh, I'm sorry, that's just the last 7 days. But the power is not the same level as it was we saw at Tennessee. But I mean, he's still driving in runs. Last month, he's had 19 RBIs in 19 games. Um, but it's just been incredible to see him just tearing it up, and that it's only his first games in professional baseball. Didn't play at all last year after being drafted, so this is his first real experience in pro ball, and he has hit the ground running. So, another one of those guys you might expect to see get called up if he stays on this tear.
Yeah, and you'd like to see him get the strikeout numbers down a little bit, 29%, and he's 22 years old at low A. So he's a little old, so the strikeout numbers are a little concerning, but he's getting on base at a good clip, 368. You said a 301 batting average. You would like to see him get back to that kind of sophomore year Tennessee slugging levels. He was slugging 643 his sophomore season at Tennessee. He's at about 430 right now, which is a pretty good number. That's not a bad number. But you'd like to see him get a little more out of that. Two homers in 24 games. I mean, we saw him hit 20 and 71 last year. So, I mean, room to grow. Very good start, 119 WRC. But, I'm excited to see where Tiers goes. I think he was very underrated in his time at Tennessee. And, I mean, when you're in a lineup of Moore and Burke and Amick and all these guys, that's kind of what happens. I'm excited for him. I was also excited, another guy on that team, Dylan Dreiling. I know he hasn't been off to the best start. What can you tell us about that, Nick?
Uh, yeah, a little slow to start off. Was drafted, I believe, in the fourth round. A guy that at Tennessee, another draft eligible sophomore, had a lot of expectations kind of coming out of the draft. A lot of teams are very excited and trying to, I'm sorry, in the second round, a lot of teams were excited to possibly draft him. It was the Rangers who ended up getting him. And at high A thus far, 219, as you said, a little bit slow of a start. Is walking a decent amount, though, has 21 walks, but does that 33 strikeouts. Has a couple of homers, three home runs, and six doubles. The OPS at 667 is just not exactly where you want. He's playing most of his games in left field, has 20 starts out there, but another interesting thing is Texas is using him in center as well. He's had 10 starts, uh, 86 innings worth of time in center. A guy, though, that I think can get it going. The bat to ball skills are just too good for him to continue to, I don't want to say struggle, but start this slow. Has seven stolen bases, which is kind of interesting. He didn't run a whole lot at Tennessee, just five stolen bases total in his career. So he's seven of eight. Uh, Playing center field, just maybe getting a little more athletic now. Maybe that's something he's changing up his game a little bit. But so far, I think the numbers are a little down, but still early in the season.
Yeah, I
Going
think
back, oh, go ahead, Paul.
Sorry, I was gonna say there's numbers that don't have me too concerned. I mean, he's not striking out at an outrageous clip, just a little above college. That's normal. He's still walking a good amount, and yeah, he struggled a little out of the gate in pro ball. 91 WRC plus last season at high A, up to 98 this season. He's having some unlucky about BABIP, 242 last year, 269. And that could be in part he might not be putting the ball in play as hard. There could be some struggles there. But as far as the strikeouts not being bad and the walks are still being there, I'm not worried about Dreiling. He's a guy that just hits. He's done it at the highest levels. I mean, we saw him in the College World Series. Best competition he faced in the year. What'd he do? Look the best he's ever been. I'm not too worried about him. But yeah, who do you want to move on to now, Nick?
Uh, I was just going to say, going back to KT really quickly, another
Hmm.
thing, just a quick note. Out of the 21 games he's played in, he's DH'd for 20 of them. So not seeing a lot of time in the field. Interesting approach there. He was a very solid right fielder, especially last year with Tennessee. Had a lot of outfield assists. Looks pretty well out there, or did pretty well out there. So just kind of an interesting note and tidbit that I noticed is he's been DHing almost entirely this season. But moving on, one more guy to talk about just briefly. Another Met volunteer, Drew Gilbert, has had some injury issues so far in pro ball. Obviously, started his career with Houston and was in that trade, the Justin Verlander trade, but started this year in single A. I think maybe rehabbing a little bit or just trying to get his feet underneath him, but will primarily be at the triple A level this year.
Yeah, I mean, he was highly regarded or highly touted in the Astros farm system. One of their top prospects for sure. Was very excited to get him for multiple reasons. As a Mets fan, just another, just like Blade Tidwell, really want to see this guy succeed. Would love to see a former Vol on the Mets squad. That'd be super fun to watch. But it's like you said, injuries have kind of taken over his career a little bit, and it's kind of made it difficult for him to like stay consistent and stay successful. Um, this season, the last month of this season, they're not terrible numbers, but I mean, like like I said, he was one of the best project prospects in the Astro system. Uh, headlined a trade that involved Justin Verlander. So I mean, there's a lot of hype around this guy, and hasn't really seemed to live up to it so far. I mean, he's still getting on base a lot, which is kind of keeping his OPS afloat over 800, but the slugging's not really there, the power's not really there, and I mean, just the overall bat to ball has been a little bit underwhelming. So I'd like to see him at least make some better contact and at least bump the average up a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean he's walking at a pretty good clip at AAA right now, and 25 games this season at AAA, 16% walk rate, striking out 14% of the time. So that's things you love to see are more walks than strikeouts. 106 WRC plus isn't bad at all, but yeah, there's kind of a lack of hard contact, a lack of slugging. He's running a 261 BABIP, which may seem like it's getting unlucky, but he's also run a 357 slugging. So it seems like he's really just having trouble driving the ball, and he's still seeing the ball. I mean, he's got a great eye. He's always had a great eye, so that's really helping him still be a plus hitter. But if he's going to get to the majors and replace, is Jose Siri getting the most run in center right now for the Mets?
Jose Siri's been down with an injury for a while. It's been
Hmm.
a platoon between Jeff McNeil, if you can believe it, and Tyrone Taylor.
Yeah, so like there's room to go and take that spot. And
For
now
sure.
the time to do that is now before Siri's back or before anything else. But it's just it may be injury. I mean, at Tennessee, he had no problem slugging a 673 slugging his sophomore season, draft year. But, we'll see. Long season ahead of him. Still time to jump up to the majors, secure that spot on a really good Mets team. But you got to see it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go quick here for these next few, but another Vol in the minors that I really wanted to talk about was AJ Cowsey. Also with the Royals, pitched well in his time with Tennessee, his 1 year. But something that was kind of interesting is they brought him in kind of to be a higher leverage reliever. Wasn't necessarily kind of that starter profile, kind of that submarine, weird delivery. Had good numbers at Jackson, I believe Jacksonville State or Jackson State, but
Definitely.
they were not going to use him kind of as a starter until AJ Russell went down. Most of those SEC games started with Chris Stamos or some sort of opener and went to Cowsey. AJ Cowsey started a few as well, but it seems very interesting that he's being used more as a reliever, like he once did, and he's been doing pretty well. In 21 innings, he has 21 strikeouts, has only given up 5 walks, and has not given up the homer at all. We talk about Drew Beam not giving up a home run. Neither has AJ Cowsey yet this year, and less innings for sure, but at Tennessee did struggle in the home run department. Gave up 13 last season, and at Jacksonville State gave up 12 in 2023. So it's good to see these pitchers not giving up the long ball, and it's showing in their stats as well. Pitched to a 1.71 ERA so far this year.
Yeah, and I'll jump to our guy, Aaron Combs. Got the final out for that national championship team last year. Drafted by the White Sox in the eighth round, traded to the Phillies, and they've let him start. 7 starts at a high A this season. He's getting roughed up a little bit, 6.48 ERA, 6.5 FIP. Don't love to see that. Do love to see 11.39 Ks per nine. Very good number. Great stuff. 5.91 walks per nine is kind of tough. And that probably just has to do with being stretched out again as a starter. Only made two starts last year at Tennessee. I forget he was probably opening. Probably wasn't even real starts. So you love to see the strikeout stuff, but the walks are tough. But I think that's a thing he can once if they move him back to the bullpen, if they decide starting's just not working out, this is a guy we want to just keep in the pen. The stuff is clearly there. They can work on the walks. Phillies have been at least solid with pitching development. They got guys like Orion, Kerkering in their bullpen. They have guys that they've developed. So I think there's a really good chance of him being at least a good reliever at the next level. Starting, they've given him a chance, but he's only averaging about 3 innings per start. It might not be for him, and that's all right. That's all right. But
Phil, you want to take the last one? Got some stuff on Jared Dickey for us real quick.
Yeah. So Jared Dickey this year started in, I believe, high A after getting called up last year. So far, 32 games, hitting 304. He's looking pretty good hitting wise. Another guy that the slugging's not there though. Slugging only 375, kind of dragging his OPS down, but he's getting on base at a 417 clip. Um, he's got 23 walks and 19 strikeouts, so it's kind of in a similar boat to Drew Gilbert with a little bit more bat to ball, I guess. Um, but yeah, you'd like to see him hit for a little bit more power because that'll really pop those numbers a lot and make him look a lot more attractive to call ups and moving through the minor league system. So
yeah, and he's 23 years old at high A, so he's pretty old for the system. And I think a lot of that on base could just be a lot of guys at those levels just really struggle to throw strikes. So a lot of guys' walk rates are going to be pretty high just because their comp can't really put it in the zone. So, the slugging being down is concerning. I mean, he's a guy that has hit pretty well throughout his career, really good. His first season at Tennessee wasn't as good in his draft year. Drafted by the Royals, is on the A's now. He's kind of a long shot at this point to be a really successful guy at the next level. But I think he's got the chance. He's got the abilities. She's shown it. And now, real quick here, who's one guy you'd all like to see either come to the majors or just move up a level in the next this year?
I'll go first. We talked about him a little bit ago, but Blake Burke is someone I could definitely see moving up quickly. As much as it pains me to potentially see him hit home runs for the Milwaukee Brewers at some point, he is somebody that I think his bat can play. You talk about Double A being a good equivalent of SEC competition. I could definitely see him moving up one level, even maybe even two to Triple A at the end of this year. I'm going with Blake Burke.
yeah, I think he's got to show a little bit more for my pick. I got a couple picks. I think first of all, Kavares Tears is very close to being called up. I mean, talking about how hot he is right now, and he's just been playing pretty well all season. I think, like you said, he's been DHing a lot, so that could be part of the reason they might want to find a spot for him in the field before they really start moving him around in the system. But I think he's very close to getting called up to the next level, especially considering he's still at the lower levels of the minor league system. But you'd also just love to see Christian Moore figured out a little
Yeah.
bit more and get the call up to the next spot because the sooner he gets up to AAA, the sooner he'll figure that out, and then the sooner he figures that out, the sooner we get to see him playing not only on in the majors but also with some former teammates of his own as well. So love to see that.
Yeah, for me, I think I want to see Drew Gilbert reach the major league level. He's 24, still a young guy, but it feels like we've been hearing his name forever, and we've been waiting and waiting. We've seen Jordan Beck reach the majors and succeed. Gilbert's a guy that I think once he's healthy, I want to see him play in center field for the Mets. I want to see him succeed, not the Mets, but him. But I don't know how long it'll be. You love to see the on base skills still. Hopefully, he gets some of that power back and gets back to that swaggy Drew Gilbert that we know.
That we know and love. Awesome. Well, guys, that's going to wrap it up for episode 2 of Pipeline Talk. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, you made it to the end. For our next episode, we're going to be diving into some prospects to watch from our 3 favorite teams and their system. Not necessarily Tennessee Volunteers, but guys that we really are excited about. Might have some games to play as well, but tune in to our next episode. Thanks for listening to Pipeline Talk.